The DadPod. New episode. Like episode 7. I'm super excited about today. We got a very, very special guest. But like, subscribe and comment. I want interaction and engagement on in the comment thread. I just want to have a chat about what you like, the feedback, right? But anyway, the guest today, someone very special to me, right? She's very lucky to be on. My partner, Victoria Cole, Mrs. Scannell, FitMum Vicks. I've invited her on for a number of reasons. One, because she begged to be on. But two, I just wanted to give a different perspective, right? Obviously, everyone I've had on so far has been a man. But she works in the same industry as me. She does exactly what I do for females. And I just wanted to give a wider perspective to the audience of the views of the health industry and how it affects parenting and so forth. But anyway, let's get back to Mrs. Cole, soon to be Mrs. Scannell. That'll probably get brought up on this.
Soon to be.
Vicks, introduce yourself, please.
I am Vicky Cole, also known as FitMum Vicks, Damien's other half, better other half. Yeah, that's me.
That's it. I thought you'd have gone wild with the introduction.
I'm not like you. I'm so different, and you'll see this very shortly that we are very different.
So, Vicks. What I want you to do is just give us a brief journey description, like just to start, maybe like start wherever you want, and just tell us a little bit about that journey and you being here now.
My personal journey.
Your personal journey, man.
Okay,
interest us. Make it interesting, though.
Well, the thing is, Damien, is when I get into a story, you always complain because you say I take too
long.
All
right, let's not make this domestics.
In my story, I'm come from a running background way back. Damien hates when I talk about this. Running background, and I feel like that is where my whole passion for just movement and sport and feeling good in myself, that is where it came from. And then I went on to have children, our first boy. And that was, I feel like, getting to the peak of where I wanted to be in my running, because that was 2012 Olympics, London. And that was what I was striving for, and then fell pregnant that year. And then it kind of changed everything, how I viewed life. The path was completely different because I was now going into motherhood. Then we went on to have 2 other children. We had a gym together. We I feel like we've done everything together. We built a gym together, which was amazing, which literally I felt like that's all we lived and breathed was that gym. I built a women's only program in the gym, which I'm really, really like proud of, because that was going from not having any clients whatsoever. I remember me and you got our PT qualification and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to start up a gym. I was like, are we really going to do this? And then I remember you and Tom, Damien's brother, at it, banging down the walls, painting, and whilst I was just onlooking, as I do, and built up the women's only program, which was amazing. At one time, there was like 50 women on the program, which was amazing. And then what happened after that? Lockdown, closed our gym. And then we had a great mentor, didn't we? Wayne, the amazing Wayne. Then we kind of went online, and I feel like that little kind of period there, I feel like it's where I really kind of grew into, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? Who am I? And that's where like the whole online coaching thing came in, because we almost went our separate ways from having the gym together to Damien's doing his online coaching, Vicks is doing hers, and we have completely different niches, people that we work with. And it was like, I'm doing this for me and I build it how I want to. So that's where I am today, and that's where it's taken me.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's good. But I just want to, something just came back to mind there. I feel like you copied me when we done our PT course.
I didn't copy you.
I feel like you copied me.
No.
If my memory serves me well, yeah, you're meant to be the academic. I feel like you copied me over that period.
Well, the thing is, I'll bring it back a little bit, okay? I did jump on it because you jumped on it.
No. I'm saying you copied me in the when we were doing our homework and stuff. We was doing.
Oh, copied you like that? I asked him for a couple of questions.
Right. All right. So yeah, as I said, one of the reasons that like I felt like it'd be good space for you to come into is because I wanted to talk to you about you serving women as well. How do you serve women? What is your service like? And I don't want you to talk about the nuts and bolts. I want to talk like as a person. How do you serve women?
I feel like I serve the women who come on board my coaching in a way where I'm kind of talking from experience almost. So I don't like to go like textbook of, oh, eat clean, move more, you should feel and look a certain way. I go by, hold on, I'm kind of coaching you through personal experiences that I've been through already and trying to help you get to a place where you don't even think is possible, but you want to get there. And I'm kind of living proof of doing that because I didn't think I would get here. So I feel like I use my personal experience to get the women to where they want to be.
Okay, so like, let's take it back a little bit. So how much does that differ from your women's only program that you had in the gym?
A lot, literally, total opposites. And the thing is, when I first started off with the online coaching, I thought it would just be the same thing, but just online. But now I'm realizing, like, back in the gym, I built such an amazing community of women, but it literally was seeing them for just that hour slot. And that was it. It was kind of like I didn't really know too much about their life in general. It was just like, as soon as you walk through the doors, Vicks is going to make it fun. We're going to put on a good music. We're going to put on a good session. You're going to get a good sweat on. And then that was literally it. And even though we did form really good like friendships, it differs to what I do online. Whereas I'm actually seeing the problems that people face on a daily basis and what their triggers are and why they're in a certain position and how do I get them from A to B.
Yeah, like, I think that I feel like being when we was PTing, when we was in the studio, when we was delivering in there, I felt like I was doing a lot for people, but it was more like a physical kind of lot. Where online, or I feel like how I'm serving people now, it's more of like a lifestyle transitioning thing. Would you go back to PTing?
I feel we've asked each other this question many times before, and I feel like I wouldn't go back to PTing just because I know I can serve more women right now, and I know that the result that I can get the woman that comes on board my online coaching, exceptional results. Whereas if I was with the PTing, I felt like it was more of like a social. Even though some people did get like good results, I've got exceptional results online, and I feel like there's been a mindset shift, there's been a lifestyle change, whereas it was very different from when I was doing my PTM.
Yeah, I this is gonna sound selfish, but I'd never go back. I'd never go back. I feel like if I would PT someone, right? But I would do it more of like as a, this is gonna sound arrogant, as a favor, or like as like, but I just could never go back. Like I just feel like you said, like with how I can serve people online and the results I get, it's just better. Not just for me, but for them, innit?
It doesn't make sense. It's better for you and it's better for them. Yeah.
How much has that changed you though? Like, because I find that when I think of myself, the way I delivered, how I viewed health, how much has it changed you at all? How you see health? You know, you helping people, from the difference from like PT and being online.
Has it? Say that again.
Has the transition from helping people in person to helping people online, has it changed you? Much about you? Have you seen a change in yourself, your deliverables, or?
Yeah. I would definitely say when I was coaching people face to face, for me, I was always quite I don't even like to use the word shy, but I've always been quite introverted. And I feel like when I did the face-to-face, that was a massive step for me in terms of like confidence, speaking to people. I remember one time having to bring all of the women together for a talk, and I literally was sweating. I was like, that just wasn't me. I had to kind of force myself to do it. But then now transitioning from that to now going online and speaking to so many women from all walks of life, hearing their problems, and how do I serve and help this woman and give her so much value that she can go away and use these tools like for forever. That's helped me because I can't show up for them unless I'm learning and getting better for myself. So the exceptional results come from me getting better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. It's like, we're going to touch on it. It's like self-development. It's like it's not just about like health and fitness and sending over nutrition plans and exercise routines. It's like self-development, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And this topic is a bit of a sticky one for me because I didn't really believe in self-development before. Ooh. I really didn't. I was just like, why are you trying to be positive all the time? Like, relax. People got their problems. Like, we're going to deal with it. So it took me a good while. And I feel like the online coaching for me probably was the transition where I was like, okay, well, I have to level up my business. But in order for me to do that, I've got to level up as a woman, as a person. So then it was like, well, Vicks, you kind of have to start learning a little bit more. You have to start having an uncomfortable conversation with a client. You're going to have to make sure you manage your time. You have to make sure that certain areas of your life don't suffer just because you want one particular thing. So if I didn't start working on myself, it was going to be harder for me to then help other people.
Yeah, I was going to move forward, but I'm going to go back to that self-development thing you just said there, right? So if you don't believe in self-development, what did you believe? What was the alternative?
Yeah, I just thought everything I was doing was just good enough, to be honest.
Ooh, this makes a lot of sense. I won't go into this.
Oh, Damon, we won't go into this because this will just, yeah.
So you've gone online now. How has that affected yourself, like your personal lifestyle and the impact? As you said, you've got 3 children. How has that affected it? Has there been a positive impact or what?
I say there's a mixture. So positive, I'll talk about that first, right? So for me, I was able to have more time with the children, be able to like school pickups, and I have never to this date missed a, what do you call it? A school, what do you call it?
Oh, like a
trip, a school trip. Yeah. I've never missed a school trip because I'm like, I want to make sure for the younger kids, I'm at every single school trip. I will be there. I will volunteer. I'm that parent, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to even do that. So that is one thing that I'm really grateful of with the online coaching. But what I also would say is because it's my personal business and I'm having to manage it, no one's doing it for me. You can't do it for me. It's like I have then given myself that extra pressure, stress, that extra like mental load of if I haven't done anything, then like things can be taken away by a click of a finger. And I know that can happen if you have a job as well, but even more so when you run your own business, if you don't show up, like things can go downhill. So I think with me, because I'm an overthinker as well, I've put that pressure onto myself that sometimes it hasn't been good because I overthink. I feel like not want too much. I like my ceiling to like do well is like so far up there that I always feel like I want to give more. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I always want to make sure like things are done right rather than just settling. So I feel like I've given myself a stress that way, and it's just learning to manage that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like somewhat a healthy stress, right? That's somewhat a healthy stress from what you're saying. It's just like learning when to step in and out of it. So to answer your question, right, from seeing what you do, we pretty much, from the nuts and bolts of the service, we have the same kind of deliverables. But from seeing me work and seeing you work, what would you say is like the big difference between working with men and women in our industry?
The big difference is I feel like men are very, how can I put this? Like you guys are just very much ego based. Like You want to lift the most. You want to be, you're always competing. You want to be like the loudest in the room or whatever it may be. And I feel like and I guess when you're discussing maybe any kind of troubles or problems that you have, it's harder for you guys to say it off the go. It kind of takes a little bit of like a bit more probing. What is actually wrong? Why did you do that? Whereas with women, we don't even need someone to probe us. We will just let it all out. So I've noticed that, I guess, with how you coach with your men is that it's more so very logical. And when I'm coaching my women, I have to be very emotional because we are emotional creatures, but I always have to tap into that logical bit as well, but just, I guess, not as much as you do.
So what I would say is, instead of like, I think you've described me more than men there in terms of ego, yeah. But in terms of like how the ego affects us in terms of lifting, but I definitely agree. I think men struggle to even communicate their pain, or they don't want to communicate their pain, where women are more willing to pour it out. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of serving them, you have to serve accordingly. I feel like men sometimes don't even want to be like pampered, you know, because it makes them, oh, what, do you think I'm weak? And then on the other side, women don't want to be shunned. I feel like I see that, and I feel like you spend more time doing maybe phone calls and kind of like responding to like messages, where I spend more time kind of like pushing, you know, like pushing people. But I agree with you. So moving forward, right, how would you say you see yourself helping women like furthermore?
Oh, what is my next step? Where do I want to take it? I don't think I've fully thought about that yet, but I definitely want to like help and serve more women, like more mothers. I don't know what that looks like, but I definitely just want to make like FitMum coaching, like I want to just see how far I can take it.
Do you think that you will forever stick between the like boundaries of exercise and nutrition, or do you think you'll like delve into other stuff, or you're just not sure at all?
I think I'm definitely going to go down the whole kind of like mindset route, okay, with obviously taking into consideration like health and fitness. I think that's always going to be a part of what I do because I just have that much of a passion for it. But I do feel like without you having the right mindset, that the health and fitness thing is just going to be hard for you anyway. Yeah. So, but I just feel like that probably is a route I want to go down, but I'm just not sure.
Yeah, so like for me, especially like obviously it may sound like a little bit of a contradiction in terms of what I previously said. PTing for me is like a no-no, right? But I do want to, 2025, I want to go into like my workshop bag, and I want to like deliver more in-person stuff. And the reason why is joining this CrossFit gym, Danny was on the last episode, I feel as though there is a definite like need for that in-person community. And I think there's a different bond. I think seeing what you've created and what I've created online, you can create a community online. I just think seeing in person, like people bonding and doing things together and trying to solve problems together in person has that different level connection. And I did a talk this year with OHB, and everyone done a workout together. It wasn't like niche orientated in terms of like gender, you know, or age, but it was just people that wanted to shift to online programming. They done a workout, then we done a talk afterwards, but you could just see like over the space of a couple of hours that everybody just like getting closer together, having different conversations. So I feel like that's a massive thing for me in 2025. I was just seeing if you wanted to dig into that bag, but that would probably, that introverted you would have to then disappear a little bit more, right?
Disappear? No. No, for me, I definitely, like, you've done your talks and things like that. Yeah. I can see myself doing that in the later future, if that makes sense.
Later future.
Future.
Distant
future. That's it.
Academic. She thinks she's the academic.
But I like that's something I do anyway. The socials every like quarter with my women anyway. So that's something that I would always do. Maybe I would like to incorporate more workshops, but just with like a smaller number. But I couldn't see myself doing any like big talks or anything as yet.
What do you think is the biggest problem with the health industry? So I'm not asking you what health problems do women suffer with, yeah? But what do you think is the biggest problem for the health in regards to the health industry, like the services they offer? Are they manipulative towards women? Is it the diets? Is it the exercise routines? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'd probably go more so on like the diet side of things. Yeah, I think it's a majority aimed at women.
What, the health industry in itself, yeah?
Majority
Yeah.
aimed at women. I feel like everything that they put out there is always like trying to be like a short-term fix, never looking into like a woman's actual issues, like what is she struggling with day by day. It's always have this shake or have this pill or go on this like restrictive diet, because if you do any of these things, you are more than likely to see results in a short period of time. But the thing is, what's happening there is you're learning absolutely nothing about yourself, the relationship you've created with food, or the relationship you created in a certain environment that you're with, or people that you're around. So, and I think and that's what they know who they're targeting, and they know that, okay, well, if we price it at this, if she doesn't like it, we know that she's always going to come back around, because I think they're always priced at reasonable pricing, aren't they? It's never something like, it's never a huge investment that you have to take with these like I don't know what are they, Weight Watchers or Slimming World. Yeah. They're really like, I don't know, how much are they?
I'm not sure. So what are you saying? Are you saying they're manipulative? They know what they're doing?
I feel like they know what they're doing. I feel like if it was something that you had to really invest your money in, just say like a car payment, okay, then they would probably know that, okay, well, a lot of women are unlikely to do that, because if we're trying to sell them a quick fix, they're more than likely to not pay that money.
Okay. So do you think, I think it swings in roundabouts. I agree with you. I entirely agree with you. But like, let's be honest, me and you have both had a business coach, right? Mm-hmm. And that business coach, when we first shifted to online, taught us some tools and mechanisms to sell. And one of the, like, they say things like, you want to sell, like, talk about a bigger weight loss and a short period of time. That would make them
unrealistic.
So it's like it swings in roundabouts. And then also, if you don't do that, then because the industry, the majority of the industry is doing that, like, no one comes on your program, so you could even help them the way that you want to help them. Mm. So I totally agree. So you would say the biggest problem with the health industry is the manipulative, unrealistic results they try to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. You know what annoys me, Vicks? Yeah, what pisses me off is like, I don't like influencers, yeah? And obviously that's such a broad statement because people might put us in that category, right? We use social media to sell our service, right? But I don't like the fact that influencers try to speak for a lot of people, right? When a lot of them are young girls and boys, yeah? Like, I don't know, you see it? You see it, right?
Yeah, for me, obviously, like, when I'm going through like my social media, and then I see like, especially younger girls who haven't had babies, they haven't had like, they're not in that stage of having a family, okay? And it's so funny how they are trying to give all this advice about like prepping their food for the week, or having like 2 hours in the gym, or being able to do this and that, when they haven't got like the first clue about family life, about taking your children to after school clubs, taking your children to a doctor's appointment. Like, it is, like, I always talk about like mums trying to put themselves in and among that list. Not like, when you're 20 years old without children, you are number one. Like, you're making sure you're good every day. But as a mum, you have to make sure your kids are good every day, that your household, that you're cooking, you're cleaning. And then you just have to make sure that you're in that list. Whereas these 20-year-old girls, they're given advice to an area they've just got no clue about until they get there themselves. And it's just very unfortunate, because a lot of these mums now are looking at these programs that are being sold and saying, okay, well, that's for me. She looks that way. If she can do it, I can do it. But you're just living two different lifestyles.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like what's a shame is not only that these influencers make the best content,
Yeah.
Like, let's not be silly. Like, they make good content, eye-catching content. But as for me, right, it's like, so obviously, you know, I've started to work with coaches. I'm trying to help coaches as well. That's another step to my business. I want to help more coaches on this journey. And like, a lot of them will come on fresh meat, right? And they're transitioning from a corporate job, or they've earned money somewhere else, so they've been successful in one aspect. And they'll be like, I want to help men, and this is how we should help men. Like, and I want to help fathers, and they're not a father themselves, and they should do this. And I'm like, all right, cool. Theoretically, everything fucking works. Like, theoretically, everything works here. But I'm saying, when you bring reality into the fold, and you talk about free children, you talk about after school clubs. How many times a week do our kids go to after school clubs or play football? And I'm like, listen, your theory doesn't work in reality. And then to bring into it, you have to bring in the fact that these people are just a bag of like emotion and trauma. You've got to factor into their current mindset. So you saying, oh, calorie deficit and regular activity levels will help this guy lose weight. Yeah, fucking hell, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's why you can't just be like, eat less, move more. Like, it is not as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? And that's why even like on our programs, every client is so different, and we have to treat them differently. Like, everybody deals with stress different. Everybody's bodies recover different. So how can I just give you all the same bit of advice? Do you know what I mean? It's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, there is like a go-to scientific formula. But it's not like, you can't say that in the moment to everybody that's coming to you with kids and financial problems. This question's a bit of a tough one, and you might not like me for springing it on you, but what don't you... Actually, let me reword it, right, so it make it easier to answer. What pisses you off, right, about the women you coach?
What pisses me off?
Don't try and be politically
correct. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to go first? Because I've already got an answer to this.
No, I've got an answer.
Answer them.
I've got an
talk
answer.
Your talk, mate.
Do you know what really pisses me off? And I don't
the
swear.
Change in tone.
Yeah, and I don't swear.
You've been saving this one up, mate.
What pisses me off about the women I have coached previously and the current women that I coach is when I receive a message saying, Vicks, I just can't do it anymore. Something's got in the way, as in like life issues, or the kids are unwell, or there's a deadline for work or uni, just life issues, okay, which we all have. But I feel like when I get these messages and it's like, oh, well, I can't really do anything. I can't go for a walk, or I can't eat well. It's like, hold on, you've got these issues, and I promise you, you are not... your issues are not by, okay, how can I word this? Your issues are far from as big as the next person. Does that make sense? Like, then I'm trying to word this.
Say it with your chest, ma'am. Say it with your chest.
No,
they're going to come for you no matter what.
There's a phrase there, but I can't get it out.
Your women are going to see this. They're going to come for you no matter what. Just say it with your chest,
No, there's always someone else with a bigger problem.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
Continue.
there's always someone else with a bigger problem. And we've got to think that you've got to look at if you look back on the last 12 months, how many months has there been where you've had, okay, I'm having a free run here, everything's running smoothly? Hardly ever. There's always something that's getting in your way. So for you to say, oh, I've just got too much going on, okay, unless you are ill and you physically cannot do anything, then I'm like, cool. But if it literally is just outside stress from either an argument with your partner or your kids being unwell, or depending on obviously how unwell they are, or just outside things which you have no control over, then it's like, hold on, you have to like get a grip here, and like, if you can't do it for yourself, who are you doing this for? And what else are you going to do? Just feel crap. And that's what annoys me, because obviously you're here for me to help you. And the only way that I can help you is if you meet me halfway and work with me.
So you don't like when women are unprepared to meet you halfway?
Yeah, and unprepared to help themselves. Yeah,
I agree. That's strong. I feel like you had that on your chest. You wanted to let that off.
Yeah, kind of.
For me, that is a big one, right? But my one, right? I cannot fucking stand when men are unwilling to lead, right? And this is what pisses me off, right? Is when men are unwilling to lead by example. And I'm saying this to you, men, right? Because and this applies to people that aren't fathers, right? The men that like, pretty much similar to what you said, men that like find an excuse in everything, in every fucking thing. Like my job is the reason why I can't get steps in, and I'm overweight and I'm unhealthy and I have to stop at McDonald's. But my kids daren't miss a day of school, you know, like, and my kids can't have to eat their veg. And my kids, they better try hard at football. And my kids better not be cowards. I cannot stand that men that are unwilling to lead, right? It's different, right? If you turn around and say, I do not give a flying fuck about the example I set my children, I don't even believe it correlates. What I do and what they're going to do, there's no link. That's the science in your head, right? But the men that stand here and say it's important to lead by example, but then don't lead, piss me off. Absolutely piss me off. But it also ties in with what you said, right?
Yeah, I hear that. And for me,
don't try and pick up from where I left off.
I can take a little bit of what you're saying as well.
Just relax.
Only because I feel like as women, like naturally we just want the best for our children, right? We naturally just want them to be like amazing in their activities, amazing at school. We want them to be healthy and everything. But we also have to take that back to us. Like if we're not leading by example, your children are the first people that you see every day. They are you're their first role model. And if you're not setting an example and if you're not leading by example, then they're just going to get that from elsewhere. They're just going to look on social media.
Well, the truth is you always lead, isn't it? Like if you smoke, that's leading by example.
That's leading, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So yesterday, right? So this is super interesting. Like we was talking about it. We were saying about, I started doing that thing with Sky, our eldest son, Money Wednesday, right? And I phoned Vicky while I was driving today, and I was saying it was crazy to see the impact it had on him, the questions he started asking, and like how his brain kind of ran off on this tangent of ideas of how to create money and what he should do with his money, right? And we was talking about when we was growing up, no disrespect to your parents and my parents, right? Like it was very 1 + 1 each day, right? And I know you're going to be mindful of what you say here, yeah. But my point being is that right from that moment to the food I eat to everything, I'm constantly leading by example, and it's important. Environment, actions, everything. That's the example, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I think sometimes a lot of us just get really caught up in daily life, whereas we really want the best for ourselves and the people around us. But because there's just so much noise around, it almost just stops us from being proactive with what we want to do. But if we can actually just take that seat back and think like, okay, how do I want my children to view me? What do I actually want them to learn? Where can we take this? And then you start like acting on that. That is where you're going to see like the bigger change, right?
So that's a good way to go with this, right? So if just say Sandra is this person that pisses you off, yeah? Like if you could get through to her, what would be the first thing that she should like implement? Like take a step back and look at, or work out who she wants to be for her child, like in 100%, action.
100%. Because a lot of people are just go. They're looking at other people or their friends that are doing something maybe that they want to do, and they're like, oh, but why am I there? They're always like either making an excuse or saying like, oh, but I can't do that because that's just not me. It's like, hold on, just stop looking at everything else. Focus inwards, even if it just means being alone for like 15 minutes with your own thoughts, saying, hold on, am I even happy? Where do I want to take things? Who do I want to be around? Because if you don't do that, then you're just going to have that, like, you're going to be in that grey area for a hell of a long time. And then you're going to constantly be upset that you're not in a place that you want to be.
You know what? I know she hasn't read my book, right? But if you look up there, yeah, my book's behind there, right? It's the manuscript. 12 steps to a peaceful, purposeful life, right? For men, right? And one of the chapters is stop, right? So I think, so it's obviously very applicable to men and women. I think people don't stop enough to work out who they are. Like, you know, like from secondary school, you could say pretty much, you enter this kind of scarcity mindset and you just chase. You're like, I don't want to be broke. Then you lift your head up and you're 30. You're like, oh, fuck, like, I've been chasing. you might be smoking, you might be drinking, you might be eating shit, you might be overweight, you might be gossiping, you might be doing all these things, yeah. But you didn't realize this is you, like that. And then if you stop and you're like, hold on, I need to stop doing this, I need to stop doing that. But what you just said there for me requires a space just to like, whoa, deep breath.
Can I tell you a little story quickly?
Not really.
I know you like my story.
As long as I'm not in it.
So when I had my first son, I believe he was like, I don't know, 2 years old. Sky was 2 years old. And I was like, and I wasn't working at the time. And my whole like athletic dream had come to an end. And I was like, I just need a job. I need a job. I need money. I don't want to be broke. So I just was applying for so many jobs. I got offered a job, which was within school hours. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. It was like minimum wage. And then I remember you saying to me, Vicks, we've just got our qualification. Why would you do that? Why would you not just get a client and that would literally cover your whole day's work at that place? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's going to take me a while. And then it's like I had to stop and actually think about, whoa, if I take this, where am I going to end up? If I want to do something, if I actually put my energy into something that I actually have a passion about and enjoy, and then put my everything into that and see where it takes me. And then that one little decision, that one point in my life, I believe, led me here to this couch.
Yeah, definitely, like a ripple effect, right? I actually remember that moment. And also, Vicks, I feel like if you're not careful, right? Well, as we were talking about leading by example, if you're not careful, right, your insecurities will lead you. Yeah, and if your insecurities lead you, they like, not to get too motivational and guru type, yeah, like it always takes you to a place of comfort, not like fulfillment and thriving. So I feel like when you do something uncomfortable, you learn a new skill. A new skill. It's interesting, you spoke about self-development, right? I think, yeah, for men, right, but I want you to touch on what your experience. I don't think enough people believe in self-development and growth. Have you ever heard of the terms fixed and growth mindset?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to undermine her here, by the way. She's probably angry that I asked that question, right? But I think too many people have fixed mindsets, and even self-development, I think they only view it in the corporate professional sense, and they don't feel like they can actually, for example, you're introverted. You can become extrovert.
Of course, and I know that. That's the thing, but...
I'm not arguing with her. You see what I'm saying?
But I know that, and that's the thing. And I feel like a few years ago, I was so stuck in this is who I am and I'm not changed because this is how I was born, this is how I am, and this is how I'm always going to be. Whereas in the last couple of years, I'm like, hold on, I can speak in front of a group of women. I can build my own thing. I can do this, I can do that. And that's what's so powerful about growth, is because you can actually take it wherever you want to go if you believe in it.
Yeah, so that's for me. It's like I don't look. Our children are trying to become whatever they're trying to become at the moment. I just think being hard-headed enough to believe in yourself that you can achieve it opens doors. I don't think everybody's going to end up where they want to go, Vicks.
Yeah, 100%.
Like we at one point we was actually looking to like build another site. We was looking at porta cabins and electric that ran into it. But listen, we was open enough to want to grow, and we ended up here. And we will end up somewhere else. So you would say if Sandra came to you with all these problems, that the ones that women come with, she's at that place where you say women piss you off. If she was open enough to learn and grow, you would say to her, stop and work out who you want to be.
Work out who you want to be. Work out who you're doing it for. Okay, so like your three people that you're doing this for. Is it yourself, loved ones around you, who you doing it for? Because there are many times for me, I would have stopped if it wasn't for you or my children. She
doesn't mean me, you know. She's definitely. But go on.
But do you know what I mean? You have to stop and just reevaluate where you are and why you're doing it. Because if you don't have a big enough why, and even that sounds cringy in itself, I don't like to say that, it's like you're just going to, and sometimes you may even just be comfortable with where you are, and that's okay.
All right, she'd have done something that pissed me off, right? Do you know what pisses me off as well, right?
Go on.
Self-development is actually seen as cringy. So like, you know, you say,
it's mad.
I think that's actually mad. Like people say things like, people say things like, "Oh, you need to work on yourself," and people are like, "Oh, that's cringy, man."
Yeah, you're right.
But it's fucking mad. Like,
You're
why
right.
can't you? Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's actually mad, and I feel like, especially like after being coached, like, listen, we had Wayne. You've obviously had another coach. Like, before Wayne, imagine having a coach. Like, that would be cringy. Like, you would.
Of course.
Did we have we didn't like football coach? It's funny because in sport you've had a coach.
Yeah, sports you have a coach, but that's just the norm.
Actually, let's talk about you. Vicks didn't even want to coach. Actually, that's how you know you wasn't. She kind of, Wayne, if you're watching this, yeah, she didn't like you. She doubted you. This guy came to us here. I never forget. I was PTing him at the time, and he goes, "We was gonna buy some what do you call them?
Oh yeah, the little MyZone thing.
MyZone.
Yeah.
We actually inquired about it. We was gonna buy like this thing MyZone. So when you're working out, it comes up on the screen.
Your heart rate.
And we're like, yeah, that's how we're gonna get clients to retain more clients and so forth. And then Wayne was like, that's a shit idea. Don't do that. Don't spend that money. And I told you, we actually reached out to them. And then Wayne had a meeting with us one day. It was a Sunday. I'll never forget. We used to do a Sunday session called Sunday Lunch.
Oh yeah, Sunday Lunch. Oh,
Sunday Lunch, right? Yeah. And then after the session now, Wayne's bought his paper. We're sitting opposite him, and he's gone, how would you like to make 100 grand a year each? Yeah, and I don't know if you remember that. And then he like started writing things down, and I just couldn't see it. But all I know is I like the sound of 100 grand a year each. And you kind of dismissed him.
Yeah, because I was like, he's obviously talking about all of this like stuff that sounds amazing. And I was like, no. I was like, and the thing is, he was talking, and in my head I was like, no, we're definitely not doing this. Don't think so.
That's wild, yeah. So like, just from the perspective of that, yeah, obviously, we never had this conversation before. So in regards to how you see that, yeah, how did you see yourself in sport then, in terms of growing in sport? Or do you just think it was, you just thought that you could grow in sport? Does that make sense?
No.
Like, for example, like, why was you training to better yourself, right?
What, when I was doing my running,
Athletics, yeah.
I was training to be an athlete. It wasn't for health reasons.
But to get better, no, I'm talking about in terms of self-development and not really believing
to
it.
get better, yeah.
To get better. But you just thought that it was only a sport thing. You don't think as a human you could get better?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Because I'd never
even thought of it
even
or comprehended
thought of that.
it.
No one ever had conversations with me about getting better as an individual.
Yeah, it's wild, you know.
But then I only had those conversations at my running track with my coach, because to get better meant, okay, we got to train harder. So that was my self-development, was, turn up to training, do an extra training session. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was never about me, about wake up earlier, or maybe
course,
just very like different. That, or like upskilling somewhere. This was all about make sure you get a physio, get a massage, eat better.
Yeah, do you know what? I would even go as far to say, so like one of the coaching modules that I do, where I coach people, I say like, I used to say, where could you improve in life? And then I got a little bit more abrupt and I said, where are you fucking up, yeah? And like people find it hard to even confess to like mistakes or a particular character flaw or anything like that. So I think a big part of self-development is even being able to address that. You know, like, no?
Because a lot of the time I feel like a lot of us are even lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're almost trying to make up a scenario to just kind of like, to kind of dumb down what the actual reality is. Do you know what I mean? So you know that you shy away from doing a particular thing, okay, but you're saying, oh, well, I don't shy away from it. It's just that I can't get there. Or do you know what I mean? I'm trying to make up a scenario in my head, but I can't think of one.
Definitely.
But I feel like until you're called out on it, and then until you can like accept it for yourself and feel, and it's like, okay, well, wow, I don't show up in that area. It's because of this. Until you can actually say that to yourself and say, I've actually been messing up this whole time. It's not brought me any closer to where I want to be. And only at that point can you start changing. Like, someone can't just say it to you and you change. It's like it's got to start from you, right?
Yeah, and I think in that, just to touch on that, a lot of people label themselves something as if it's like an innate character. Like, I'm not an academic, I'm not a reader, or I'm not something. Where if you've got a growth mindset, it's like, how do I tap into that? Because
I used to tell myself, even though I come from a running background, that was sprinting. I always said to myself, I'm not a runner, I'm not an endurance runner. And then I got into high rocks, which is obviously very endurance based. And then I remember my coach at the time, Denise, amazing coach by the way, she was like, Vicks, you're going to have to like up your running. You've got to work twice as hard as the girls who are actually endurance runners. And it's crazy in that period of time how my running times just like dramatically got better because I've had a main focus on that, and I had to just accept that I had to work harder for it.
Yeah. You know, that's something I'd advise a lot of like men to do is like get a coach, right? But the problem, I used to make that like the first step here, but I don't think it is, because I've seen people get a coach and it not work. You know why? Because if your mind's not ready to receive, what do you consider to be like your ultimate transformation? Like, like you see a lot of these like coaches online, right? They like, oh, I've lost 40 kilos. Like, what for you is like the ultimate transformation when you work with a woman? Or the pinnacle of a transformation? What would you describe like?
For a woman to come to me and say, Vicks, I feel like on top of the world, my confidence is there. I'm doing things I've never done before. I'm like the healthiest and fittest I've ever been. That's it for me. It's not the actual transformation is like, okay, I'm in a bikini. Yeah, okay, that's amazing. But for a woman to be like, wow, I have changed. My relationships have got better. I've changed as a woman. I understand who I am. I've set boundaries for myself, learning new skills. That's unreal for me.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that. Oh, obviously we talk a lot, so I knew he was going to say that. But that wasn't the case before, because I thought, because let's be honest, man, like, until we shifted online, I don't think we ever really saw the results we saw now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I saw, we got results, right? But being able to like mass produce them results, right? This is gonna sound really shit, yeah, but it kind of got boring to me, because I feel as though I knew that wasn't the thing, and I agree with you. So now, when someone like says to me like, I'm a beast or something like that, or like someone says like you said, like, I went to the beach and I fucking first time I had my top off in 10 years.
Yeah.
Or loads of instances, like, and it, for me, going back to the reason why people piss me off is when I feel as though people step into their power, right, and they start leading, and they're like, and I can hear it in their essence, like when they're communicating it. But and I think that's what not enough people recognize with, and that's why they end up buying the cheap shit. Do you get what I'm saying?
Like they're not ready to invest in them, so they do opt for the cheaper shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I will put my hands up and say that I was there. Like, even with Wayne, our first coach, I was like, there ain't no way we're like doing any form of like investment. Like, why would we do that? It's almost like you don't believe in yourself. Like, you're so scared of it not working out that you're like, whoa, I can't do that. And I believe that is why a lot of people opt for the cheap stuff, because they know that they're not going to get the result that they want.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's like, lucky, didn't really pay that much for it.
So do you think it's like people actually can't see themselves?
Can't see it. And it's a fear of failure.
Yeah. Obviously we're talking about our clients here, but I definitely feel as though that was us, because I don't think we ever saw ourselves making the money we make today with the lifestyle we have today. And this isn't saying we definitely don't go to Dubai every month,
Yeah, we're not those 20.
Even though someone went St. Lucia without me, right? But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that like the fact because of the lack of, and I feel like I'm someone that's always kind of had self-development kind of mindset, yeah. Because of the lack of self-belief, I always thought correlated, if I ever made this kind of money, I'd have to work a lot, like, a lot more hours, like, like I'd have a job or something like that. So I actually get what you're saying. If you can't see yourself as something, then you're definitely going to struggle to become it.
But then I would also say, like, from a woman's point of view, with the amount of women that I have been in communication with, is that a lot of women do struggle to invest in themselves as well. It's almost like that's kind of like meant for men to do.
So what do you mean, financially, or do you mean
I just feel like just in general, like a lot of women just don't have that. Yeah, they like, you don't really hear of them investing in themselves other than maybe getting like their hair or nails done. It's like when it comes to any kind of health and fitness, it's almost like oh, okay, well, I'll try and do this alone. It's just not really heard of to like invest a lot of money into themselves, or maybe it's like they actually, I'll take that back. The point I'm trying to say is like, for a lot of mums, I feel like they struggle to invest in themselves. It's like they'll go to a shop knowing that they need to get something like an outfit for them, but they come out with outfits for all their children. So they're constantly putting everybody else first and leaving themselves till last. And I do feel that that's an issue when it comes to them trying to better themselves, is because they're never in the list. So they're always like, okay, well, I know that this money can kind of go on something else. I can't do that for me.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that is another problem.
I feel like you've touched on something. We could go down a rabbit hole here, yeah, but because it's so true. But I also think people use their children as an excuse. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, what I feel like is like, I get guys telling me, guys earning good money, like waffling, just chatting shit, Vicks. They're like, oh, this month's been busy, like we've got a holiday coming up, and I had to do some of this and I had to do that, and we're going to Dubai, and then we got Portugal booked, and then I'm like, bro, you're fucking 17 kilos overweight and can't fucking walk up a flight of stairs.
You got to choose your hard, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, do you think your kids are gonna fucking want a healthy dad in 15 years, or fucking talk about going to Dubai when they were 7 years old? Does that make sense? And if I'm being honest, it's not really about the kids, it's about you.
Yeah.
It's about you. So it's true. I think men and women, women definitely have that as more of like emotional baggage, what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
And I feel like men, again, man, bringing the ego back into it, it's like, we're going to Dubai, like that kind of one.
Yeah. I just don't think you can keep complaining when you're not taking the right steps for your health and your well-being. You can't keep complaining. You can't keep saying, I feel crap, I'm overweight, I'm stressed all the time, I'm tired all the time, I'm having arguments with my partner, I can't handle my children, I don't feel in control, when you haven't taken that step back to say, okay, where am I going to take things, and be proactive with it. And no matter how hard it gets, I think as soon as it gets hard, it's like they stop. But then when they tell their children, oh, if it's hard at school one day or you got your exams, keep going. But you can't put that same energy on yourself.
Yeah, it's true. And Vic, let's be honest, like, our programs consist of more than calorie deficit than walking, but a lot of people could get a long way down their results just by the simplest things in it. So it's not like a hard as in like scientific formula. It's more as in like a hard pattern behavior change, right?
Yeah.
So you said that the Karen, Karen, man, that sounds, wow. Is that Sandra?
Sandra.
That's how you know I spend too much time on Twitter sometimes, yeah. Sandra,
Everyone's a Karen.
she stopped. You've told her to stop. She's addressed herself, right? What's the next step? She's like, I don't want to be this woman no more. I want to be strong. What's the next step? Sign up to your program, or?
Yeah, well, for me, the next step would be guidance and support, right? So either find a coach who has helped.
Where do you find a coach?
Where do you find a coach?
Yeah.
You have, I say, you can't just go on Instagram or Facebook or Google and type in like woman's coach. You actually have to make sure that your energy aligns with that coach, because you're going to be forming a relationship with whoever is coaching you. Okay, just for someone to give you a meal plan and say go and do these exercises is not a coach. Okay, everybody labels themselves as a coach, but I promise you, when you go into different coaching programs, you will definitely see that they are very, very different. Okay, so you have to make sure that the person that you want to work with is that you get on with, right? That you get on with, and you can see yourself forming that relationship and bond with them too, because that is ultimately the communication side of things. It's ultimately what is going to help you get the results, right? When you feel like you're relaxed and you're comfortable enough to open up and talk to your coach.
Yeah, I agree, Vix. You know that what this step here, yeah, I think it's important that we communicate this, because I think when I speak to people, yeah, even the people that are not using my service and they want to go and get help, what I think they don't do is like they don't put enough effort into sourcing that help.
Yeah.
Like, there's Facebook communities. There's literally free coaching programs. And I'm not saying they'll all be for you, but just being open-minded enough to go into them spaces and like get that energy alignment that you're talking about. So Sandra, you just say she's not going to come on the FitMum coaching program, which is obviously the best coaching program in the world, right? Where would you direct her to like a coach? Like, just like Google, what would you say?
I would say to her to like speak with friends, family. Have they had anyone that they have worked with before that they have got good results from, or has found that that's really helped them? Because otherwise it's just whatever you see out there, especially social media, it can be like a really like, I don't know what the word is, like, I don't even want to say fake, but it can be a very fake place because people are just putting up what you want to see, and it can be very different behind closed doors. So it is, I feel like getting that kind of feedback from like friends or family, someone who has worked with someone before. Even if you find a coach online, speak to a client that they've worked with before.
Yeah, I totally agree. So just being mindful of time, we're going to wrap up in a second. Yeah, like, again, just giving that Sky yesterday, I said to Sky's one of his ways that he wanted to make money, he wanted to design a bag. So he goes, he said, no one's going to buy the bag, or no one's going to something anyway. And anyway, I just said, Sky, look, man, just put it up on your WhatsApp story and in one of a couple groups that you're in. But within 5 minutes, someone phoned him. Someone's phoned him. Your brother phoned him and said, "Oh, look, man, nephew, man, you wanna do this, man? I've got some camera equipment. I've got big into recording content. I'll do a video for you." I say that to say this, right? Once you get better at communicating your pain and your problems, like with your small network or whoever you consider to be people you're comfortable doing it with, I guarantee someone's gonna say, "Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, or listen, man, I heard, I saw this, or someone told me they worked with this great coach," and I think that's how we found Wayne.
Yeah, you're
or
right.
I found Wayne.
You're right.
And I would say historically, one thing that I've been quite good at, I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't blow my own trumpet. Yeah, is I'm quite open in discussion, and I've stumbled across some like that Forbesy, like these kind of people, and these people they have no real reason to like help us. They're financially another level, business wise, and they've helped us, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so just to wrap it up, so Sandra now, she's gone, you've told her to stop. You said, Sandra, shut up, stop, have a think about it. She says she hates herself. She says she wants to look exactly like you, FitMum Vicks. She's gone and she's reached out to people. She's found a coach, man. Would you give her any other advice?
When you are in a coaching plan, okay, don't think because you're signed up to a plan that's it, miracle work, like in whatever phase that they're giving you to do the work, that you're going to get your dream outcome. You have to meet that coach halfway. You have to put in the work. If you are not committed to learning, being a student, don't think that what you did before is going to work and you drag that into your new coaching. Be willing to learn, okay? Be willing to open up, have a conversation, communicate. All right, because that is the way you're going to get the result. Like, give feedback. If you feel like things aren't working for you, like, express that. The worst thing that you can do is literally jump onto something like a coaching plan and just kind of sit there in the background, just like, and not say a word. It's the worst thing you can do. If you're doing amazing, tell them you're doing amazing. Show them you're doing amazing. If you're struggling, talk up. Say you're struggling.
Oh yeah, that is, we've had that.
I had to learn that. Even with like a new business coach that I had to learn that, hold on, if I don't quite get anything, instead of just staying in the background, I've got to make sure I like voice my opinion. I need help. What is the reason why I'm doing this? Because you want to learn as well. You're not just on there to like be guided, like learn what you need to do so that when you do come off the plan, you're able to go and walk on your own.
Well, listen, Victoria, FitMum Cole, right? I appreciate you for coming on, right? We're going home together, so there's no point.
Yeah, we don't need to wrap
get
up.
into it. But listen, thank you very much. You can find Vicky on Instagram, FitMum Vicks, Facebook, Vicky Cole. LinkedIn, Victoria Cole. She's all across social media. Or just follow me and I'll message me and I'll point you in that direction. She helps hundreds of women all over the world, right? Thank you for watching the Dad Pod. Please like, please subscribe, but more importantly, please comment, because I love your feedback and I'm listening. Okay, thanks for watching.